Hello everyone, I'm Roshan Pereira. I'm the Associate Student Counselor for Headway City College. ඔයාලව සාදරයෙන් පිළිගන්නවා අපේ webinar එකට IELTS speaking and listening ගැන කතා කරන්න තමයි අද අපි හදන්නේ. මම හිතනවා ඔයාලට මේ webinar එකෙන් හොඳ exposure එකක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා මේ skills දෙකට IELTS exam එකේ. එතකොට අපි Headway ගැන කතා කරමු. HCC Headway City College. Headway කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවල pioneer කෙනෙක් English language training and testing වලට ඊට අමතරව especially for IELTS. එතකොට IELTS නම් Headway තමයි. අපි එතකොට තව මේක drag කරන්න නැතුව මම දැන් මේ facilitators ලව introduce කරන්නම්. So today we have our dear facilitator Mr. Naren Mohanranjithan here, along with our dear teacher, Ms. Susan Raj. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Roshane, for that lovely welcome. And welcome, Naren. So it's always a pleasure to have you here. And a very good evening to everyone joining us on a Friday evening. Right, Naren sir. So the first question I'm going to ask you, and I think something that everyone wants to know is, could you tell us something about the IELTS exam? And to put it in Sinhala is, IELTS exam එක ගැන Naren sir අපිට චූටක් විස්තර කරන්න පුළුවන් වේද?
Right. So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can, sir.
Yeah. Susan, our title is Speaking and Listening, but I think it's better if we can just start off with the format first, right? So welcome to this very short orientation. We are not going to go beyond 40 minutes here, right? So City College Headway we have been in the field of language teaching for 28 years now, and in teaching IELTS for more than 15 years. I think, no, more than 20 years of teaching in IELTS. Teaching IELTS, and we have a registration partner for Headway, for British Council for many, many years. And okay, so we were the platinum partner with the British Council for registering students. So these are some of the background information about us, who we are and all that. So directly I go to the format. This is the structure. If you're not aware, most of you must be aware of this, right? Test structure is, there are two tests, academic and general. Academic exam and general exam are the same when it comes to listening and speaking. So that means if you're a general training candidate, you go to the listening exam, you get the same questions as you would get if you took the exam for general academic. Same with the speaking, right? Listening, there are 30 questions and there are 4 sections, including 40 items. Within 30 minutes, you have to answer all the questions. You get the same question for both parties. Speaking also the same, 11 to 14 minutes. We are going to go into detail, so I'm not going to harp on that. But the fact is that they are the same for both academic and general people. The main difference is academic reading and general reading. Once again, there are similarities. The third part of the reading section in academic and the third part, third part එකේ විතරක් අර දෙකම එකයි. Third part academic reading එකේ එන question same type එනවා general training වලටත්. But general training වල මොකද්ද difference is first part and second part ඒවා ටිකක් lazy මීට වඩා. General training part 1 එකත් part 2 එකත් easier than academic reading, right? So in academic reading, all are in the same format, same level. Of course, there are slight differences between part 1 and part 2, but they are the same. About the same idea. 40 questions, 40 wala, how many questions, your band score depends on how many questions you answer correctly. Academic writing and general writing also different. One similarity is second part එකේ අපිට essay එකක් ලියන්න වෙනවා. 250 worded essay එකක් ලියන්න වෙනවා. ගොඩක් හිතන්න ඕනේ 250 word කියන්නේ ලොකු එච්චර ලොකු නෙවෙයි in English language. On it there are also words. So you will be writing not more than 16 to 17 sentences to get a decent answer. එතකොට ඒකත් වෙනසක් තියන්නේ first part එකේ. Academic first part එකේ තියෙනවා අපිට graph එකක් දෙනවා, නැත්තම් maps දෙකක් දීලා ඒක compare කරලා ලියන්න කියනවා. නැත්තම් process එකක් දෙනවා. How to make orange juice කියලා ඒ ගැන ලියන්න වෙනවා academic එකේ. Academic writing එකේ part 1 එකේ only two forms of letter, types of letters. Formal letter එනවා එක්ක නැත්තම් informal letter එකක් එනවා. I'm speaking in Sinhala because I was requested that if I speak Sinhala, it might reach many people. But I will have a mixture. I realize that there are people, Tamil speaking students also. If you request, please ask me questions. I can speak all three languages. So general training again, letter eka, only letter, two types, one either formal or informal HRI. So, but you must be wondering, I'm doing UKVI. ඒක මොකක්ද? තව එකක්ද? නෑ. UKVI කියන්නේ UK United Kingdom visa, right? UKVI. ඒකටත් same. Format is the same, everything is same. Only the issue is there, not issue, only difference is there'll be camera in front of you in your reading and listening exam. That's the only difference. The format is the same. But I may UKVI only if you want to go to the UK. No other countries it's required. Earlier, it was a huge difference in pricing. Normally IELTS was cheaper than UKVI. UKVI was expensive. But now it's almost the same. Only a very small difference is there. So ඒ ගැන හිතන්න එපා. ක්ලාස් එකට ආව නම් ක්ලාස් එකේ වෙන දේවල් දෙකටම අදාළයි. Only thing is the camera. That's all. And also remember, from January this month, this year, all exams are computer based. No exams are paper based. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔක්කොම එන්නේ computer එකේ except for speaking. If you are taking the test in Colombo and Kandy, you get live examiners, in-person examiners like I am sitting in front of you. You will be sitting in front of me if you come to an exam. Whereas Colombo, Matara, Jaffna, Gaul, those areas, you will do the exam online on Zoom meeting platform. That's all about this. I don't want to take your time, so I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Naren sir. So, just a little reminder, podi reminder එකක් මේ Zoom meeting එකේ මොන හරි questions තිබ්බොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් chat option එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න, use the chat to send us your questions and try to have your microphones on mute so that we don't disturb the others, right? But we are welcome to, I mean, if you have questions with regards to the speaking and listening, please put your questions on the chat and we'll be very happy to address them as and when we are speaking about it or at the end, depending on the timing that we have. Right. So Naren sir, let's move into the speaking, Naren sir, right? So first of all, could you just tell us, Naren sir, what are the three parts? Now, speaking test එක ගත්තොත් කොටස් තුනක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කොටස් මොකක්ද Naren sir? සහ මේ parts තුන කොහොමද speaking එක assess කරන්නේ? How does each part assess the different communicative skills?
Thank you. So I'll start with the three sections. Sections තුනක් තියෙනවා. Section 1 is again an interview, right? You go to the exam and you sit in front of the exam. The examiner asks you your name, your full name, what shall I call you? All those things, right? Then they ask you, there are three frames. Frame 1 is they ask you questions about your job or your studies. So that is more or less standard. Anywhere you go in the world, that question could be very common. For example, they might ask you, are you a student or do you have a job? Are you a student or do you have a job? Is a very common question. If you say, I have a job and I do this, and then they ask you questions about the job. If you say, I'm still a student, then the questions will be going in the direction of your studies. That is frame 1. Either this or they might ask you about where you live, whether you like the place, whether you live in a city, village, or town. Of a village, they use the word countryside. So that question, now, do you like the place where you live? Is there anything you don't like about the place? So these are the frame 1 questions. They are more or less standard. ඒකට අපිට වෙබ්සයිට් කොහේ ගියත් ඒ questions ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ questions ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා. අර first part questions. First part එකේ තවත් දෙකක් තියෙනවා. 2 frames are there. They select random frames. For example, hobby again, what do you do in your free time? Then do you do your free time activities alone or with other people? A free time activity important right? What kind of hobbies would you like to continue in your future? First, second frame hobbies varieties of topics you can't predict. I'll tell you the story here. There are so many websites that claim that they are giving you the answers, the questions for this year, next year, last year. These are new questions, those are old questions. All that was relevant until last month. Now there's a new format. Maybe it's new for you also, Susan, sometimes, I don't know. There's a new format of the exam where you can't predict anything. So even for examiners, the questions are probably shuffled. So even for examiners, there are new questions. So now you can't memorize and go to the exam. That's one thing I want you to. Some teachers give you loads of questions and then they ask you memorize කරන්න යන්න. ගිහිල්ලා කටපාඩම් කරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා ඒ පොඩ්ඩක් ප්‍රශ්න අහනකොට ඒකම දැන් ඒව වෙන්න බෑ ආයේ, right? Even if the questions comes, don't need to worry. We will be doing in class, and also some of you are joining the class. We will teach you how to be ready with any question that you ask. Right, Harini, first part take right. Part 2, the examiner gives you a topic, right? And it talks about describe all the topics, almost, not even, I can't say almost 100%, 100% topics. Start with the wording describe. Describe a book you read recently. Describe a holiday you spent recently, right? Describe the best teacher you've ever had. And ඒ වගේ questions past එකේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්, present එකෙත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Describe a friend you always talk to. Describe a hobby that you have at the moment. Then right? Sometimes the second part question can be about the future. Describe a country you would like to live. Describe a city you would like to visit for a brief period of time. And ඒ වගේ questions වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එකයි යන්නේ ඔයගලන්ට දෙනවා piece of paper which has the thing. Nowadays that is also gone. Now we don't have any paper. If you're on a Zoom meeting exam, or a topic appear whenever on the screen. Okay, the topic will appear on the screen and the examiner will ask you, can you see the screen? Can you see the topic? And then examiner gives you 1 minute for preparation. Then on the first part second part second part වෙලාවක් හම්බ වෙනවා අපිට question ගැන read කියවලා you can make notes about that. How much time? 1 minute. Within the 1 minute, you can't write the whole. You are not a computer. You can't write the whole speech. So you can only make notes. Most of the time, I'll show you a question. Most of the time, the questions give you 3 bullet points. But although they give you 3 bullet points, the question actually involves 4 areas, right? Now look at this question. Right. Okay, I'm ready. Here it is. Since it's a very brief meeting, I don't want to waste your time and my time looking at slides. So I'm going to directly go to a book where I see this paper.
And Naren sir, while you're pulling up the book, can I just repeat what you said in Sinhala, Naren sir?
Yes, please.
So part 1 questions avila personal questions. අහන්න පුළුවන්. First starting with වැඩ කරනවාද නැත්නම් පාඩම් කරනවාද ඒකත් එක්ක අපි ඒ කියන්නේ personal things, maybe likes and dislikes, ඒ වගේ දේවල් තමයි part frame 1 එකේ අහන්නේ. and ඒකට පස්සේ frame 2 එකේ නරෙන්ස කියපු එක තමයි අපිට මොන හරි topic එකක් තියෙයි. ඒ ගැන අපි විස්තර කරන්න ඕනේ, describe කරන්න ඕනේ, විස්තර කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ යටතේ points 3ක් තියෙයි. ඒත් ඇත්තටම බැලුවොත් question එකේ කොටස් 4ක් තියෙනවා. කතා කරන්න ඕන දේවල් 4ක් තියෙනවා. අර bullet points 3 සහ අන්තිමට question එකක් තියෙයි explain කරන්න. ඒත් එක්ක කොටස් 4ක් තියෙනවා කතා කරන්න. Yes, Narayan sir.
Very good. So you're good at reminding me things. Yeah, the first part involves personal questions only. What do you do? Where do you come from? And then did you do a lot of sports when you were a child? Right? I'll come to the third part to compare that. So here also it's personal. Describe a law that was introduced in your country. See, there are 3 bullet points here. Only. What was the law? What the law was? Who introduced it? When and why it was introduced? And also the extra point. Why you thought this law was such a good idea? So මෙතන අපිට කරන්න තියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලෝ paper එකක් දෙනවා තාම, right? They give you a piece of paper. In the piece of paper ඒක හතරට බෙදා ගන්න. එතකොට කොටස් හතරක් තියෙනවනේ. Quadrants 4, right? 4 quadrants are there. I don't know what you call quadrant. 4 areas in the paper. එතකොට එතන what was the law? එතන ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් මේක තමයි law එක. For example, I was doing this in class. One person said, there's a law about spitting in Sri Lanka. You can't spit. Bulattita kala spit karana eka bෑ. Eka නවත්තන්න යනවා. Who introduced? Maybe the Minister of Environment introduced that. When it was introduced last month. Why you thought this law was? It's a good idea because now the tourists are increasing in this country. Number of tourists are increasing, therefore good. That's all. You අපිට දෙන්නේ only 1 minute නේ. ඒ 1 minute තුල ඕගලන්ට ඒක දියා ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තමයි මම කිව්වේ practical නෑ entire exam එක ලියන එක. Exam speech එක ලියන එක, right? Only 4 bullet points and then you keep on talking about that for 2 minutes. Right? Preparation 1 minute, continuously speak for 2 minutes. You can look at the screen. By the way, as I told you, now there's no paper base, no paper is involved. So this will appear on the screen even if you go to direct in-person meetings. You sit in front of the examiner, there will be a computer in front of you and in front of the examiner. So you look at this screen in front of you and the examiner has his own screen. Then you look at this and take notes with a piece of paper physically and then start the examiner කියනවා දැන් හරි දැන් ඔයා කතා කරන්න පටන් ගන්න. That means I'd like you to start speaking now and then you keep speaking for 2 minutes. 2 minutes වල the examiner is not going to interrupt. ප්‍රශ්න in between. They only ask, they listen very carefully to whatever you are saying. Okay? So that is the third part. So in the second part, I think I am reading some of your minds. You must be wondering, ඒවගේ law එකක් නෑනේ මේ speed කරන්න බෑ කියලා law එකක් නෑනේ මේ රටේ තාම. So why are you saying that? That's what the candidate actually imagined. So second part වල බොරු කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ බොරු නෙවෙයි imagine කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. They are asking, describe a book that you read recently කියලා ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවා කියමුකෝ. Don't worry, you don't need to be thinking about real book that you read. You may බොරු කියන්න පුළුවන්, imagine කරන්න පුළුවන්, මොනවා හරි කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? ඔක්කොම කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Then the exam is over. Second part is over. Third part, the examiner asks questions connected to the second part. Then මෙතන අපි කතා කරේ law නේ. එතකොට third part questions එන්න පුළුවන්, what kinds of laws are important in a school? Is it important to have laws in school? Who should decide the laws in school? Students or teachers or parents together? So ඒ වගේ පොදු questions, right? General questions. Remember, that's the biggest difference between part 1, part 2 and part 3. Part 1 එකේ personal questions, part 2 එකේ personal questions, part 3 general statements. They are talking about law in a country, what kind of laws are important in a country, right? Then part 3 එකේ බලන්න questions පොඩ්ඩ වැඩි වෙනවා intensity. That means the examiner will change question depending on your level of language. If you are like 5 bands, then the questions will be like easy ones. That it involves more the questions amaru වෙනව නම් හිතා ගන්න මම හොඳට කරනවා කියලා. So that means that questions are going in advance, you have a better chance. Right. So in third part, if you come back to personal life, for example, what kind of laws are important? If you say, in my school, I had this law, then the examiner will say, let's talk about things in general. Then you go back to, that won't penalize, right? So, okay, I have spoken about the 3 parts. Now let's go to the criteria. First criteria is Fluency and coherence. It looks like heavy words. What do you mean by fluency? The ability to keep going. Now I'm going to ask Susan a question. I will demonstrate what fluency is, right? So you can ask me the same question, what do you do in your free time, right? Susan is the examiner, I am the candidate. By answering, I'll demonstrate what do I mean by fluency. Okay, yes, Susan, let's start.
What do you do in your free time?
I am a busy person. I am actually I work 7 days every day, every week. Therefore, I don't have a lot of free time. Uh, but but Saturday, Sunday I work. I don't work. I take my family to beach or park. So that's my free time activity. Now look at that answer. What is not wrong? What is the problem here? I am hesitating a lot. So it shows that I am not fluent enough, right? I'm saying sound ගොඩක් තිබුණා sentence වල connection එකක් නැහැ. Connection තිබුණා, but the flow is not there. So for that kind of candidate, the best score for fluency would be 5 bands. If you break in between sentence, then in my free time part of the sentence, in my free time repeating, I go to the beach, again breaking, right? Repeating, breaking, repetition, breaking. These in between sentences, if you break, you are not going to get more than 5 bands. Okay, ask the same question, I'm going to give a better answer. Tell me why that is better. Okay.
What do you do in your free time?
Well, it's an interesting question. I'm a very busy person. In fact, I work 7 days a week sometimes. So therefore, as a result, I don't have a lot of free time during the weekdays. However, during weekends, I make sure that I don't work. That's when I take my wife. Actually, at the moment, only my wife and I are living in Sri Lanka. So we go to a park or a restaurant sometime, not always, but we go to a restaurant. Most of the time, we sit down and watch a movie. That's about 7 band, 8 band answer, because 8 band answer, perhaps 9 if you are lucky. 8 band answer because I'm connecting the sentence. You see the way I started. I started with, that's an interesting question. In fact, that's a connector. In fact, I'm a very busy person because I work 7 days a week. So I'm connecting with because. However, sorry, that's why, or I said as a result, I don't have any time during my weekdays. As a result, is there a sentence connect? However, during the weekend, now I'm going to the weekend, right? However, during the weekend, I make sure that I stay at home to enjoy my time, right? So free time at home, me time, sorry. So therefore, I stay at home, and sometimes I go to the beach or park with my wife. And then in between, I'm adding another thing. In fact, only my wife and I are living here. So that is very fluent. And that's what my answer is very connected, coherent, we call it. The word coherent means just connected. That's all you have to think about, right? How they are connected together. So that's a very good answer for you. That's when the examiner thinks, okay. And also topic development is something, Susan. When I say topic level development, what do I mean by that is, I started with the answer, I work 7 days a week. Then I gave the reason why I don't have time during the weekdays. Then I said, however, I make some free time for me in weekdays. So all this is topic is developing stage by stage. Finally, I ended up the question, what do we do in my free time? I watch movies or go to a park. That's the question. I didn't say directly, I go to the park. That's like you asked me a question, I'm giving you the answer. I'm not fluent, but I gave you the answer. So that is what. So what is the next criteria? One is that coherence and fluency and coherence. Next one is vocabulary, right? We call it lexical resources. Fancy word, isn't it? Lexical resources means vocabulary. Now look at this answer. I can make this answer much better with some more vocabulary. Okay, Susan. Ask the same question.
What do you do in your free time?
Well, I'm a very busy person. I work against the clock almost every day. Therefore, I don't really have a lot of time. But during the weekends, on and off, we go to a movie. Many a times we watch a movie at Netflix, right? We seldom go to the beach because I don't enjoy beaches. So once in a blue moon, we go to a restaurant. So once in a blue moon, I said on and off, I said, what is the other idiom I use? Every now and then I use. So these are idiomatic expressions that can heighten my score to above 7 or even 8. So it's interesting to learn a lot of vocabulary, which includes uh, idiomatic expression. Having said that, I am not saying you can't get 8 bands without using idiomatic expression. Wrong. You still can have very high fluent, low frequency words. That means very rare words that are used to elevate your answer, your vocabulary score to 8 bands. You can still do that. But idioms can help you to do that. That's the idea, right? So words like very heavy, words like what can you give me some words off the hook?
About free time, Narayan sir.
Yeah.
So you use the word seldom, Narayan sir, which is not something that we commonly use.
So you can say, do you play? I don't play cricket because I loathe cricket. I don't like the idea of standing in the sunlight for many hours. I loathe, Loath. Loathe means a very rare word we use in Sri Lanka, but in the UK they use it all the time. So words like that, right? Seldom, rarely, once in a blue moon, right? So it's a question is about do you have a lot of plants at home? Well, I think I have a green thumb. I always have something in my garden. I have a green thumb, green finger. So a night owl, you know who a night owl is? Somebody who works in the night, right? Who likes to work during the night. An early bird is somebody who likes to work in the morning. So these are very good things to collect to keep your repertoire of vocabulary growing all the time, right? Even the word repertoire is a heavy word, isn't it? So words like that, right? Recently, I met a student. She said she forgot the idiom. Be careful. Don't forget the idiom. Don't replace with. You can't translate idioms. මම හොඳ කතාවක් කියන්නම්. ලණුවක් දෙන්නවායි කියන්නේ මොකක්ද සිංහලෙන්? So it's only you and I are talking. If other people also can join if you want to. කාට හරි දන්නවද ලණුවක් දෙනවා කියන්නේ උඹලා දන්නවා ඇති, right? In සිංහල ලණුවක් දෙනවා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Okay, this is not this is a seminar, so you can answer. Do you know ලණුවක් දෙනවා කියන්නේ?
Is it being dishonest, Narayan sir, or cheating someone probably?
Cheating. A simple
Yeah.
thing, right? So Tamil students, if there are கயிறு கொடுக்குறேன்னு சொன்னா கைத்த கொடுத்துட்டான் மச்சான்ல, that means you said there I'm going to give you a party. Then when you go there, there's no party. They went somewhere. They cheated you. Lanuak dunna. But if you translate to Lanuak dunna, that means gave me a rope. Very interestingly, Sri Lankan people, we use, I don't know whether young people like you use, but in our age group, we use Lanuak. Machan, she gave me a rope, machan, that means she cheated me. But in fact, giving a rope in English, if you Google, it's the opposite meaning. I was struggling with finances, but my friend gave me a rope. Giving a rope means they helped me. So see, you can't translate. So you think that she gave me a rope in a negative way, but in English-speaking world, it means giving you hopes. So that's a very good example that you can't translate, right? Idiomatic expressions are very good to elevate your grammar. Sorry, your this thing. Lexical resources. The third criteria is grammatical accuracy. Now, again, ask me the question again.
What do you do in your free time?
Look at my answer, right? So now focus on my grammar. I'm a busy person. I don't have a lot of time. I work every day, 7 days a week. Sometimes I have some time. Sometimes I have some time in during weekends. I watch a movie. Sometimes I go to a cinema. Go to the cinema. So all these sentences are very good. I'm fluent. I'm just moving. I'm just flowing. But what is the problem? My sentences are very choppy sentences, simple structures. I am a busy person, only one verb. I don't have enough time. I work 24/7. 24/7 is idiom. 24/7 means throughout the day. And then see, still my grammar is not good. It is not bad, but I don't demonstrate complex structures. Ask me the same question. I'm going to demonstrate something. Watch it carefully. Okay, ask me the same question.
What do you do in your free time?
Since I work 7 days a week, I usually don't have a lot of time during the weekdays. Consequently, I don't have time to spend during my weekends, weekdays, full stop, right? What I do, but I make sure that during Saturdays, I don't do a lot of work. What I do during Saturdays is to sit down and watch a movie at home with my wife or go to a beach. Now, those are advanced structures. I'll go reverse. What I do during the weekend is to sit down and watch a movie. That is my very advanced structure called cleft sentence, right? You can use so many different grammatical sentences. First, I started the sentence with since. Since I am a very busy person, I don't have enough time to work. Second sentence. Consequently, I don't have any free time during my weekdays. So what I like to do during my weekends is, so see, I demonstrated 3 different advanced structures. So structures gonna kata lazy. Structures goda kada gandone api. Because in one stone you can kill 2 birds, another idiom. In Sinhala කොහොමද කියන්නේ එක ගලකින් කුරුළු දෙකක්, right? That is if you grammar එක හදාගත්තා නම් ඒක මේකට විතරක් නෙවෙයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ writing වලට ඒක අදාළ වෙනවා to increase your scores in writing. So that is structure. So when you come to class, we learn a lot of structure. There's other simple structures, like not simple, other interesting structures, and not only but also, right? I not only go to the beach, sometimes I also go to the cinema. So there I'm using not only but also structure. There's another structure called more the merrier. Because I know free time is important, because the more time you spend with your spouse, the better the life can be, or the worse life can be. Right? So the more you speak to your partner, the more interesting things might happen. That is more the merrier structure, I call it. That's my wording, my reference to that. So there are plenty of structures that you can learn that can elevate your answers, right? You can get away with the exam using very simple structures. But look at one more example I'll give you. How many structures do you know to talk about the future? So Susan and I discussed that. Sometimes people, you only they can manage everything, right? What are you going to do tomorrow? I have to go to work. I have to wash my clothes. I have to. So that's an obligation. But there are so many different things. I will, I'm going to, I'm looking forward to plus ing form. I'm thinking of doing, I would, I wish to, I hope to. See, there are so many different structures to use for the future. It's not a class, so I'm not teaching those things. I'm showing you there's a possibility. Only one more thing, past tense. What structures do you know about the past tense? Did you do a lot of sport when you were at school? Look at my answer. Simple answer could be yes, I did a lot of sport. I did high jump, long jump, and putt shot. Look at this answer. Yes, during school days, I used to play basketball a lot. I would go to the playground as soon as the school finishes. We would play together until 5 o'clock, because those days we never used to go to a tuition class. We came home, studied, and slept. So went to bed. So you see, I was using used to talk about the past habit. I was using would, again habit, right? So these are past structures that you can use. So why am I talking about structure? The examiners are very trained, well-trained people. They wait and listen carefully to see whether you are bringing in more structures. More the structures, better the score. 8 bands ගන්න structures ගොඩක් use කරන්න. Don't worry. If you are looking for only 6.55 bands වෙන්න පුළුවන්, මෙතන කට්ටියක් එන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයගලන්ට ඕනේ only 6 bands. 6.5 bands නම් එච්චර දාගලන්න ඕනේ. You, whatever language that you have, you can manage with that. But if you are looking for better scores, adandone immediately your structures. As much as possible, use structures. Last but not least, pronunciation. The last criteria. Pronunciation is a very important structure. I mean, equal marks are given for all these. All are equally important. Pronunciation, I will talk about accent first. Now, Susan and I have a slightly Sri Lankan accent, maybe slightly, but most of the time we can be termed as neutral accent people, right? We don't have a lot of accent. We call, if you listen to BBC or CNN, mostly BBC, they have an accent. You can't say which accent they are. It's not Australian, it's not English, it's not American, it's a neutral accent. That's the accent that you need to develop, right? What do you mean by accent in the first place? You ask me a question, I will put it in a single accent and Tamil accent. I'll try. Right. Okay.
Same
So
question, Narayan sir.
or you can change it. People must be bored about it.
How often do you go out for meals?
Now look at this. First, I won't tell you what accent is. For the meals, I don't go many times. Actually, I am not a very rich person. Therefore, I don't go outside. My wife can cook well. I am a connoisseur of my wife's cooking. So I always stay at home and eat my dinner. Now, what do you think that is? I'm not very good at that. I think. Single or Tamil? Slightly Tamil, actually. It's difficult, right? It's difficult for me to put up that accent. So I'm going to put a single accent, right? Okay, Mama Mema Kiana. Tava question Mama Ananko sentence Kiana, right? A second conditional sentence, first conditional content. Oya third condition. Oya Kiwana Mama in Nani. Mama party එකට ගියා. එතන මගේ ex girlfriend ආවා. මම කියනවා එයාට ඔයා කිව්වනම් මතන මම එතනට එන්නේ නැහනේ. So I put it in single accents. If you told me, I wouldn't have come, no. So if you told me, I wouldn't have come, no. So මම කියනවා මං එන්නේ නැහනේ. So look at put them in juxtaposition. ඔයා කිව්වනම් මං එන්නේ නැහනේ. If you told me, I won't come, no. So a native speaker won't say that. He say, if you had told me, I wouldn't have come. If you had told me, I wouldn't have come. So that is neutralized exam. So if you put it in American, if you told me, I wouldn't have come. That is, I'm trying to put up an accent there. So that's what they're asking. They are looking for neutralized accent. Your Tamil persons will tell you, if you have told me, I would not have come. Why didn't you tell me? So then I'm talking like a Tamil person speaking English. That is what accent. When you go to a native speaker's country, sometimes they train you with de-accenting you, neutralizing activities. So I was talking to a student a moment ago. So that is something that they do. So accent, imagine you can't put up an accent and deceive the examiner. Because third part accent again or first part again. Where do you come from? I come from Negombo, which is a beautiful place. You are putting up an accent. Second part normal, I questions questions yeah, no, right? Okay, I think we have spent more time on speaking. So these are the four: fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical accuracy, and pronunciation. In class, we will talk more about that, especially pronunciation. You don't need to worry if you don't have an American or British accent. If you have an accent like Susan and I, even you can go to the extent of getting 9 bands. I'm serious. Okay, I'll tell you, I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I got 9 bands for my speaking in the exam. So if you can speak like me, you can still get a 9 band. Right, good. But having said that, you must avoid pronunciation mistakes. Like if you have problem with school, many singular speaking friends have this problem with school and start. Tamil speaking friends will have another idea, right? Cows and house becomes cows, cows become house, right? They have a problem in that. So some Indian speaking people will have a oo sound after everything. reached, come, right? Eat, cook. So even some French people also have that same problem. They put a oo sound, vowel sound after the word. Right. Okay, fine. Enough for that. Any more questions about speaking?
Narens, I think you've covered a majority of my questions. But just the last one, Narens, with regards to speaking is what common habits tend to lower a candidate's speaking band score? So
Over. Common
so
habit.
let me put that in Sinhala.
Uh,
මේ මොන වගේ habits ද නරින්ස දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කතා කරද්දී පොඩි habits ඇතිනේ. ඒ habits අපේ band score එක lower කරනවාද නරින්ස? ඒක
oh,
lower වුණොත් what habits?
lower කරන්නේ again, as I told you, the accent, right? The words that you meant. එක හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. School කියන මට දන්න ඕනේ. School ආයේ කියන්න බෑ. මේකට 5 bands වලට වැඩි යනවා නම්. Because school can be understood by a Sri Lankan examiner, but for a foreigner, they don't understand that. They might have problem in understanding you, right? So we have a problem in understanding Chinese candidates. Problem, right? Because they have different accent put on. That is one. Habit කියන්නේ memorize කරලා එතනට ගිහිල්ලා තුප්පවනා means Tamil. කොහොමද කියන්නේ ඒක සිංහලෙන්? Memorize කරලා ගිහිල්ලා එතන spit කරන්න ඕනේ. You don't know the word. Okay. Spitting, right? You don't memorize and go. My famous example, my favorite example is mesmerizing. So some students memorize that word mesmerizing and they come and tell, they use everywhere. එක word එක I repeat කරන්න එපා. එතකොට අඩු වෙනවා. Mesmerizing. Where do you live? I live in Maradana. It's a mesmerizing place. Maradana mesmerizing place. නෙවෙයි. Maybe you can say I went to Sigiriya, it was a mesmerizing structure. That's okay. But that is one habit. I think we are running dangerously out of time. So shall we move on?
Yes, Narayan sir. So we're moving to the listening, Narayan sir. What is the structure of the listening test? And I think first we'll do that, sir, and then we go to the next thing. So a listening test එක structure එක මොකක්ද Narayan sir?
There are හතරක් තියෙනවා. Part 1, 2, 3, 4. Interestingly, part 1 and part 2 මැද යනකම්. Part 1 100% listening for details, right? You will be asked, right? Names, prices, time. For example, a person is talking about a newly opened museum, then talk about starting time, closing time, what is the ticket price. These are specific information, numbers and words and names. The contact person, all that is specific information. That will go on until the 16th question. Most of the time, 15th, 16th question, you will be asked to write only specific details. After the 16th question, then comes little difficult roundabout questions, right? They are not very direct. You need to listen carefully to get the gist of the idea. Gist means the summary of what they are saying and give an answer. For example, one question I will ask you, only one question I'm giving you. The script, I am Susan and I. Susan, you had to choose which holiday I had, right? The question is, which holiday did the speaker select? A, Malaysia, B, Singapore. Now I am the speaker. I say, well, recently we wanted to go on a holiday. We haven't been to a holiday for a long time, so we decided to go to a holiday. There were two choices. One is Malaysia, the other one is Singapore. Malaysia is an excellent place. There are so many things to do. A lot of restaurants are there. There are a lot of theme parks, and traveling is easy. And most often, it's very expensive when you compare to Singapore. However, I've been to Malaysia several times, more than 25 times in my lifetime. So we decided to do otherwise. What is the answer?
Singapore, Narayan sir.
Singapore. Why Singapore? But I talked more things about Malaysia, didn't I?
But I decided to do otherwise. So though you're talking about Malaysia, you decided against it.
So which word helped you to decide? The last word.
Yes.
The last word. So you need to listen until the last moment to decide. So the last word told otherwise, it decided that I went to Singapore instead of Malaysia. So that is the nature of the questions after the first, second part, madde. 15 question passe. So why am I telling you this? So the first 15 questions are really, really easy to me, to many of you, right? Because it talks about specific information. You have to get the maximum out of it in the first two parts, right? 1 to 20, you must get all the answers correct for a better score. Then comes the third part. Third part is the nightmare for many people. Third part එකේ පොඩ්ඩක් අමාරු වෙනවා තමයි. But luckily, thank God, 1, 2, 3, 4 equal number of questions. 10, 10, 10, 10. So මෙතන 10, මෙතන 10 දෙකක් ඉවරයි 20 අරගත්තා නැත්නම් 18 හරි අරගත්තා. 13 third question එකේ from 21 to 30 there could be difficulties, right? Doesn't matter. If you are looking for a 7 band, even if you get 5 bands, 5 answers there, you are still in good shape. So many people, what happens, third part get upset and amaru and nervous. Third part get amaru na, they think, oh, I had to do the test again. I am not good. So what you do, you just give it up. And then that stress and frustration will follow through fourth part where you give up. But good news is fourth part is also easy. Fourth part is also specific information. Most of the time, one word answers. Dates, times, people, concepts, right? But the difference between first part and the fourth part tuck tuck answers and specific information directly. Fourth part ගොඩාක් කියවලා ගොඩාක් යනවා text එක යනකොටම අපිට හොයාගන්න ඕනේ කොතනද answer එක තියෙන්නේ කියලා. You need to follow through the text. So when you come to class, we'll deal with that. You need to look at the text, keep your pen, or nowadays no pen, keep your cursor on the answer, and then follow the text, not the text, follow the text, of course, the written text, and the listening text. Compare it and come to the correct answer, then you spot on that, right? So the difference is, fourth part is also one person talking, maybe a lecturer talking about a topic, or researcher talking about a topic, something like that. All right. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I think we are almost out of time, but we'll spend some more time for listening.
Naren, so the next question I have is, now we're listening to native speakers, Naren, and we talked about the distractors that are going to come in the listening part as well. How can people prepare, especially when it comes to the native accent and their pace of speaking? To put this in Sinhala, listening exam එකේ native speakers කතා කරන එක තමයි අහුම්කන් දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ තව දේවල් තියෙනවා, distractors ඔක්කොම එනවා test එකේ. දැන් අපි කොහොමද නරින්ස ඒ accent එක සහ native speaker කතා කරන වේගයට හුරු වෙන්නේ?
Excellent question. Once again. So ඒකට හුරු වෙන්න මම දෙනවා answer එකක්, one word answer එකක් which can annoy most of you. The word is practice. Practice, that's all. Practice, practice, practice all the time. I'll give you some more ideas. There are plenty of things to listen to. You listen to them. The more you listen, the better you become a listener. So one small example. Say, what do you mean by long time no see? Long time no see. Hi Susan, long time no see. Dakala godak kal, right? So dakala godak kal kere, long time no see. You pick up language. When you listen more, you pick up language like that. So give me for example, the process was straightforward. That means another word for easy is straightforward. So how did I know that? By listening a lot. But when you come to accent, there are only 3 accents, major 3 accents, no, 2 accents actually. One is British, the other one is Australia. Why? IELTS belongs to British Council, IDP, Australia, and Cambridge. So these are the 3 accents. There's no American, there hardly any American accent in listening, right? So these are the 3 accents you need to, that they are, most of the time they are neutral. If you've been to the UK, you would have heard or you'd have watched films where you get, even films that are not made in certain accents like Glaswegian accents or what do you call, West Glasgow, Scotland, Scottish accent. Scottish accent is difficult to understand even for somebody from England. So that kind of language, it's not tested, luckily. You don't have that. But there's some accent is there. For example, butter becomes sometimes butter, very slighted, right? There are some convenient cum for come. There are some, but to give you an answer, you need to listen. One of my students gave me a good idea. She said, I improve my listening by listening to BBC News all the time. Every single day, I listen to at least half an hour. I had another student whose accent was, I was really surprised by the accent for speaking because he said, I listen to Obama speeches every day. I don't go to bed without listening to, sorry to be negative, but you listen to Obama, not any other presidents in the US, right? Right? You listen to Obama speeches, and some of the speeches are not some, all of them are really, really interesting. You learn idiom, accent, everything. So BBC, big political leaders, native speaker leaders can be a good use, right? Okay.
The last question, Naren, says, how important is spelling and grammar in the listening test, especially for gap filling and short answer questions? So spelling saha grammar වදගත් Naren sa listening test එකේ because අපිට මොකද gap filling සහ කෙටි උත්තර දෙන්න අවස්ථාවල් තියෙන නිසා.
Very good. එතන වෙන්නේ grammar අපිට උදව් වෙනවා. For example, there are a lot of කියලා dash එකක් තියෙනවා නම් එතන grammar උදව් වෙනවා. A lot of කියනකොට එතන plural එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ නේ. Not always if it's a countable noun. There are a lot of conversations going on, arguments going on, right? Or a countable, uncountable word in that පුළුවන්. So some කියනකොට එතන එන්න ඕනේ S form එකක් එන්න ඕනේ නැත්තම් uncountable එක එතන උදව් වෙනවා තමයි, right? Grammar, that is grammar. More than grammar, spelling is important. If you make any spelling mistake, that is marked, those answers are marked wrong. Absolutely wrong. So, of course, spelling is important. You need to practice. Sometimes, example, I-O-N-O, S-I-O-N. Conversation, T-I-O-N-O, S-I-O-N. Conclusion, S-I-O-N, T-I-O-N. Some people have a serious problem with that. So those words, you need some commonly mistaken words. Privilege has no D. Knowledge has a D, right? Something, those words you need to get to know. Definitely spelling will be. So for practice listening, listen to that. And also if you have loads of practice material for listening, at least listen to those things without looking at the answer. Just listen. Okay. I think we are out of time.
Yes, Narissa, thank you so much for taking the time. And one thing is that I'm sure there's so much more that we actually can discuss, and we will during our sessions. And with that, I'd like to hand over controls back to Roshan. Thank you for having us, Roshan. It's a pleasure joining you, and thank you so much for spending your time with us, Narissa.
Let me thank Roshan for inviting me for this occasion. Short, brief presentation, especially also to Susan, and Sanjeev also is there. Susan, for those wonderful questions. Thank you very much. I'm leaving. You can continue, right? If you want to give any information.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. See you
Thank you
later.
so
Bye. Some of you have already registered. I'll see you in class. Thank you. I'm leaving.
Yes. So I received so many questions asking about how to enroll to the program. So I was just gonna be sharing the slide to you. So there's a special offer for the program. ඔයාලට join වෙන්න ඕනේ නම් අපේ program එකට join වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ සඳුදාට කලින් before Monday 23rd of June. එතකොට අපේ special offer එකක් තියෙනවා ඒ deadline එකට කලින් join වෙන students ලට course fee එක 22,500 නෙමෙයි දෙන්නේ 15,000. එතකොට අපි program එකේ structure එක ගැන කතා කරොත් මේක 1 month program එකක්. අපි මාසයක් ඇතුළත ඔයාලගේ IELTS වලට 100% prepare කරලා දෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව අපේ program එක ගැන details කිව්වොත් ඔයාලට අපේ program එකෙන් ලැබෙන benefit එකක් තමයි අපි එක batch එකකට සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න උපරිම students ලා 20යි. එතකොට අපිට class එකේ quality එක maintain කරන ගමන් හැම student කෙනෙක්ටම individual attention දෙන්න පුළුවන් නිසා. So if you need to join, if you need to enroll to the program, you can kindly text me via WhatsApp. I'll share my contact number as well. Yes, so this is my contact number, no 777-591-310. You can take a screenshot of this, or you can text me directly to my WhatsApp, and you can get all the information. So if you have anything to do with exam registration, you can drop me your information. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So again, thank you so much for joining. I think you had a great experience with our IELTS webinar on speaking and listening. And I believe that you received so much information when it comes to IELTS. So let's meet again soon with a new seminar, a new webinar on IELTS. So thank you so much, dear teacher, Ms. Susan Raj, and again to Naren sir, and thank you so much for joining, dear students.